They say love is a beautiful thing, until the heart begins to doubt. In the city that never sleeps, where promises are whispered under neon lights and secrets hide behind laughter, one woman decided to find out if her man's love was real, by testing it. Her name was Chioma, a woman of warmth and wit, admired by friends, envied by some, and adored by a man who swore she was his world. But when suspicion crept into her nights, when her dreams began to echo with whispers of betrayal, Chioma made a choice. The choice that would change everything forever. Title: The Deadly Price of Testing Love. How a woman tested her husband's loyalty and lost him forever. The sound of her scream alerted me at the reception. I ran to the hotel room's door and saw Chioma on the ground holding her husband's body in her arms. Her hands were red with his blood. She was shouting. It was just a test. I only wanted to know if he truly loved me. I didn't mean to kill him. That picture will never leave my mind. My name is Amaka. I live in Lagos. I'm not telling you this story to entertain you, but I want you to learn a big lesson. I am telling you because I saw it with my whole eyes. Until today, I still ask myself, was it love or madness? In my neighborhood, people knew Chioma and James as a happy couple. They met in the university. James was the quiet one, always calm, always smiling. Chioma, on the other hand, was outspoken, sharp-tongued, and full of life. Together they looked balanced like fire and water. On social media they looked perfect. Every Sunday you had seen them posting pictures wearing matching clothes. At parties they danced together laughing as if they had no worries. But inside their home it was different. Chioma never trusted James even before marriage. She used to tell me, men cannot be trusted. They pretend today and tomorrow they are chasing another woman. I must always be one step ahead. I would tell her, Chioma, if you start a marriage with fear, you won't find peace in that marriage. But she never listened. Instead, her fear grew stronger after marriage. Whenever James's phone rang, she would rush and grab it first. If he went out, she would call him 10 times, just to know where and who he was with. If he stayed out late from work, she suspected he was cheating. Still, James never raised his hand against her. He would just sigh and say, Chioma, if you don't trust me, then why are we together? But that question only made her more angry. Then came Chioma's birthday, on a fateful, beautiful Friday. James organized a small party at their home. Chioma invited her friends and James brought along some of his office colleagues. Both men and women. At first, everything looked perfect. The sitting room was decorated with balloons and lights. Music played softly in the background. Plates of food and bottles of wine filled the table. Everyone was laughing, clicking glasses, taking pictures. But I noticed Chioma's face. She wasn't relaxed. She wasn't enjoying herself at all. Each time one of James' female colleagues laughed at his joke, Chioma's eyes narrowed. When one of them adjusted his shirt collar and said, "You are such a caring husband," Chioma's smile froze. I tried to whisper to her, "Chioma, relax now. They are just colleagues." But she hissed, "Can't you see the way that one is looking at him? Do you think women like that have respect? They will sleep with him in a flash if I turn my back." Even during the cake cutting when James stood behind her and everyone sang, Chioma was distracted. Her eyes scanned the room watching every woman that looked at her husband. Later when people began to leave, Chioma pulled me aside. Her voice was low but sharp. "Amaka, I can't take this anymore. I must know if James is loyal. These women, his colleagues, I don't trust them at all. I don't trust James either. I will test him and I will know the truth once and for all. Her words sent a chill down my spine. That birthday, instead of being a moment of joy for Chioma, it became the seed of something dark. On Saturday afternoon, just a week after her birthday, Chioma came to my house with two of our friends. She began to complain about James. I know he's cheating, she said. I feel it. I will find out by any means. One of our friends, Ngozi, shook her head. Chioma, you are looking for big trouble. You keep saying men cannot be trusted, but you have no proof. Be careful before you destroy your own home. Another friend added. A test. Don't bring peace. If you don't trust him, just leave him. But don't create problems that are not there. I just kept looking at Chioma, wondering what else she wanted from her man. Despite his love for her, she's not satisfied. Chioma laughed, but it was not a laugh of someone listening. It was the laugh of someone determined. Don't worry, she said. I know what I'm doing. But the truth, she didn't. One evening, Chioma invited me to her house. She locked the door and whispered, Amaka, I want to test James. I need to know if he's loyal. I frowned. Test him? How? She smiled like someone who had already planned everything. I will use my cousin's number to pretend I am another woman. I will chat him, seduce him, and see if he falls. I told her it was dangerous. Chioma, you might end up hurting yourself, but she waved her hand. Better I cry now than waste my years with a man who will disgrace me later. That night, she created a fake Facebook profile using her cousin's photos. She sent the first message, Hello, handsome. I like your smile. At first, James ignored it, but after a few days, he replied with a simple thanks. Chioma's eyes lit up. You see, he responded. She continued chatting as the fake woman. Slowly, James began replying more often. Sometimes he would laugh. Sometimes he would ask where she lived. Chioma became restless. Every reply was like a knife in her chest. But instead of stopping, she pushed harder. A week after she told me about her plan, Chioma called me in the middle of the night. Her voice was trembling. Amaka, she said, I saw something in my dream. I saw a river, deep and red. I was standing in it, calling James's name, but he didn't answer. Then the water turned to blood. I told her, that's a warning. Stop what you're doing before something terrible happens. But Chioma only laughed weakly. Dreams don't mean anything. Maybe it's just stress. Still, I could feel the fear in her tone. For the first time, I sensed that even she didn't know how far she was willing to go. 2 weeks later, Chioma told me a new plan. She said, I will ask him to meet this fake woman in person. If he comes, then I know he has failed completely. I was shocked. Are you listening to yourself? This is madness. But Chioma didn't care. A loyal man should not even consider meeting another woman. Let me catch him red-handed. She booked a flashy hotel room and told her cousin to wait inside, pretending to be the mystery woman. That night, I followed her to the hotel, but I was afraid something bad would happen. We waited outside the hotel in her car, washing the gates. After 30 minutes, I saw James's car driving in. My heart sank. Chioma's breathing grew. She grabbed her phone and whispered, You see, I told you men cannot be trusted. James entered the hotel room smiling nervously. He saw the cousin and said, "So you are real." The cousin played along, but she was scared. She continued glancing at the door, waiting for Chioma to come in. That was when Shaw stormed in. She shouted like thunder, "James, you fool, you are finished." She slapped him across the face. The cousin screamed and ran into the bathroom. James was shocked. "Chioma, what is this? What's going on? You failed the test." Chioma screamed. "I gave you my heart and you still came here to meet another woman." James raised his hands. "It was a mistake. I just wanted to see who was behind the messages. I wasn't going to do anything." Chioma didn't believe him. Her hunger consumed her. On the table there was a wine bottle. She grabbed it, raised it high and smashed it against the wall. The bottle scattered across the floor. The neck of the bottle turned into a sharp weapon. Chioma moved closer to James. She was too angry. "I gave you everything and you still betrayed me," she said. "It's not true." James tried to hold her hand, but in the fight the sharp bottle pierced his neck. Blood splashed on the floor, on the wall, even on Chioma's face. James staggered back, blushing his throat. He tried to speak, but only blood poured from his mouth. Within minutes, he collapsed on the ground, lifeless. Chioma fell beside him, screaming, "No, it was just a test. I didn't mean it, but it was too late." The hotel workers rushed in. I was standing at the door, frozen, shaking. The police came. Chioma was shaking uncontrollably. They dragged her into their van while she cried. "Please, it was an accident. It was just an accident." At the station, I sat in the waiting room, still in shock. I could hear her voice from inside the cell. She kept repeating, "I loved him. I really loved him. I only wanted to know if he was mine." The officer beside me shook his head and said, "Madam, this is not love. This is an obsession. If people don't learn to trust, they will definitely destroy themselves." His words stayed with me because he was right. Neighbors soon heard the story. The whole community was divided. Some said James was guilty for entertaining another woman. Others said Chioma was guilty for setting a deadly trap. But in the end, nothing could bring James back. Chioma was arrested. She sat on the ground in handcuffs, rocking back and forth, muttering, "It was just a test. Just a test." Her cousin went into hiding for weeks, ashamed to show her face. And me, I couldn't sleep. For months, I would wake up at night hearing Chioma's screams in my dreams. Months later, I attended the court hearing. Chioma stood in the dock, her once beautiful face now thin and pale. She looked nothing like the woman who once laughed and danced in her wedding gown. The judge asked, "Do you have anything to say before the court delivers judgment?" Chioma's voice broke. "My lord, I didn't mean to kill him. I loved him too much. I only wanted to test him, to know if he truly loved me." Her words filled the courtroom with silence. Even the judge lowered his eyes. Before they took her away, she turned to me and whispered, "Amaka, tell every woman you meet. Never test love. It will destroy you." That day, I cried like a child. Because I knew she had finally understood, but too late. My people, let me tell you, testing love is like setting fire in your own house. You may think you are proving something, but in the end, the flames may consume you. Trust is not built through lies, games, or facts. It is built by open words, patience and honesty. If you cannot trust, then maybe you should not be with them. But don't play dangerous games with people's hearts, because when you dig a hole for another person, you may be the first to fall inside. So never test your partner's loyalty with fake accounts, fake people, or fake stories. You may get the answer you are looking for, but you may not be ready to face it. And sometimes, as in Chioma's case, the price you pay may be too high. If you are not ready to trust, don't marry. And if you marry, don't test. Tell me, my people. If you were Chioma, what would you have done differently? Do you think testing love can ever end well? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, sometimes, the deadliest wounds are the ones caused by doubt. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life lessons from the heart.